Good morning, friends. It's Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art, and we're going to do a little painting this morning. I'm so happy to have you here, and we're going to be painting in acrylic paints. And if you don't know me, I am an acrylic painter. I teach acrylic painting. I also teach watercolor and oils, but this morning we're going to work in acrylics. So I am going to bring up comments because I want you to say hello when you come in, and so that I can see that everyone's watching, and here you come. So thank you guys for popping in. I am going through StreamYard this morning. That gives me the opportunity to have two screens so you can see my work, and then I just feel like I can see you guys if I'm here. So welcome. Please give StreamYard permission when you sign on, and that way I can see your name. And if not, just tell me who you are in the comments. Good morning, Darla from Florida. I am in Massachusetts. I love the East Coast. I spend a lot of time in Maine on the coast. I'm heading there after the class this morning. But I am also in Florida almost once a month, Darla. My son and some of my siblings live there. So I'm hoping this winter to become a snowbird and be down there in the winter. Where are you from in Florida? I'd love to know where people are from. So please say hello, guys. Let me know where you're from in the comments. We're going to do a fun project this morning. I sunflowers, summer sunflowers, which, to be honest, I've been painting a lot of Santas and snowmen and scarecrows and pumpkins lately. So those will be coming along soon. Let's get one last blast in because I do love the sunflowers, and I think it'll be a fun project. Good morning, Catherine. Lakeland, yes. Okay, I saw you last time, and I said that my family is in Orlando, but we're kind of looking over towards the Clearwater area for some time in the winter. So thanks. Hey, Tracy, good morning. I hope you're feeling better. And we were all thinking of you yesterday, and thank you so much. This is fun. This is my segment for Craft Around the Clock this morning, which is a fabulous site, and I will put the link in the comments. Crafting all day long, can you believe it? I'm a big painter, but I love to do all sorts of crafts, and just watching all of the ladies and gentlemen demonstrating crafts that I have never done before is so fun. Just watching them is relaxing. So take a look, and please join us over on that group too. So for my peeps on Tinker's Cart Art, please check out the Craft Around the Clock group. And like I said, I teach beginner painting. So if you guys are hesitant to paint or haven't painted before, this is the place for you. I go step by baby step and teach you everything from the beginning and make it super simple. So don't shy away if you haven't really painted, because I will have you jump right in. Hi, Kat. Hi, Kat. Good morning. Thank you, guys. I see your comments here, and I will answer them as best I can. And if I don't after the fact, I will go back and look at them as well. So I'm going to take that banner down so that you can see everything here that I'm doing. Pull your comments back up. And do tell me where you're from. I love to hear that. So we are just using acrylic paints, any craft acrylic paint you have. I do like the Deco Art brand, but sometimes I'll buy whatever brand if I really like the colors. So whatever you have is fine. I have painted on all sorts of hats, so I thought we'd do hats this morning. I have this baseball cap I painted, which is great to dress up, just a plain cap with the sunflowers. And this summer, for a summer beach hat, I painted a straw hat, super easy. I got these from at Hobby Lobby. They were probably like $8. So painted right in the regular acrylics. I do not really use a fabric paint for something like this. I just use my regular ordinary acrylics. They're not coming off. And the only time I would worry about a fabric medium or something to mix in, or a fabric paint, if I was painting maybe a t-shirt or something softer with a little bit of a different soft hand. But it's great for hats, canvas tote bags, all sorts of fabric things. So oh, Connecticut, you're my neighbor to the south then. Yes, I am not too far from Connecticut, actually. So welcome. And today I thought I bought these little they're not inexpensive. They were less than these guys. They were at Hobby Lobby. They come in black and white. And I just thought they would be fun. I sometimes have, when I travel out west to do plein air painting, we sometimes have a cowboy themed party. So I picked these up to paint for that. And it's just kind of a pressed, I don't want to say paper, but it's just a pressed surface. And I think the paints will take fine. It was a little more difficult on the straw hat, getting the paint in the grooves, but certainly not impossible, as you can see. Colors that I'm going to use this morning. Good morning, Terry. Michigan, oh, welcome. I've gotten out some basic colors. I've got black and white. I've got a burnt umber and a burnt sienna, so a couple shades of brown. Now, you don't have to use the same exact colors I'm using. You can use whatever you'd like. I have some black out because I like to mix my burnt umber brown a little darker. I like a dark brown. It's just not dark enough in the tube, in the bottom. I got an orange. I might use red, I'm not sure. A dark, kind of a sprucey green, a few shades of yellow for those flowers, and we'll mix colors as we go. When I paint, I generally start background to foreground, which for landscapes and that sort of thing, still lifes, that really works well. Here, we don't really have to worry, but I also go dark to light. So we're going to go dark to light here, and I'll show you as I go. I think we may as well just jump in and start. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Love to see you all here. Thank you. It's morning, and I generally go on later in the day and in the evening, but I thought I'd like to try mornings, and mornings are great for me because then you have the whole day, and I love to go on and catch the other crafters too. So good morning, Kim. Ontario, yay. My more northern neighbors. Okay, so I'm going to start with, for brushes, I use a couple different types of brushes. I use these hog hair bristle brushes. They're a long-handled brush. They're a filbert, which means they are a rounded tip as opposed to flat. I love these for landscape painting. I love these for canvas painting. Because of the stiff brush we have, it digs nicely into the nooks and crannies of the canvas, nicely into the straw hat. So because it's a fabricy surface, I want to get a little bit of a base coat of paint on there and then paint on top. It's great for that. But if you don't have it, doesn't matter. Use whatever brushes you have. I'm also going to use some of my synthetic flats. And these are just a synthetic bristle brush, a little softer. So whatever you have, we can make it work. No worries. Whatever colors you have. I like to just not have you go out and spend a lot of money buying a lot of things. I want you to be able to just jump in and paint with whatever you might have. So on the idea that I do go back to furthest back to front, I'm going to do a little base coat. I'm going to show you on the little cap again, just for instance, just a close-up. So what I'm going to start with is some leaves in the background. You can see them there. Actually, I will put in my sunflowers to put a place for them so I can put my leaves tucked underneath. But I'm going to put a layer of really dark, kind of a brown, burnt sienna background. I'm going to go to a darker orange, and then starting in my darker yellows to my lightest yellow, I'll probably mix with white and work forward with those little petals. So can you see behind? You see a little brown, you see a little darker yellow. And as we move forward, because the color's lighter, they seem to pop a little more. So that's why I start dark. I even start very dark sometimes on my leaves, add some brighter leaves on top. And at the end, we'll tuck a few little white, just little one-stroke flowers in here and there to fill it out. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to, like I said, just base coat in, just give a few petals to where my sunflowers are actually going to be. Hi, Sheila. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys spreading and sprinkling. You know, when we're on the book here, everything has to be so careful, but I would love you to follow my page if you have an interest in painting, if you're a beginner, or if you're more accomplished. I do all sorts of design, so I love it, and I appreciate that you're putting me out there. Thank you. Yes, right. You could even paint some pumpkins on the hat for pumpkin picking. Okay, so I'm going to just get a little bit of a burnt sienna here, some of my browns, a little bit of that orange. I'm just placing where I might want my sunflowers. And I know it's a kind of a bigger item, but I'm going to try to paint it so that you can see what I'm doing. Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate you following me. I have some links there in the description for texting me if you want to be notified when I go live, and for my communities and whatnot. So I'm going to start right in the middle. I'm going to do this one with a big sunflower here and then some little bits of on the side. So I'm going to give like a big stroke of just that brown orangey mixture, just to give myself, and it's a little awkward painting like this, so bear with me, guys. Thank you for your patience. And because it's a fabric, it's a little harder to get the paint to go smoothly, of course. So can you see I'm sort of digging in a little bit? I'm digging in that paint. Once I get that paint in there as like a base layer, the other coats on top are going to go a little smoother. So I'm not worrying if these look exactly like petals or not. Can you see I'm picking up some of my burnt sienna and my brown? I'm throwing a little orange in there. I'm mixing on the brush rather than mixing on the palette. I want some different shades. And you can see I've got some brown showing up, a little bit of the orange. Oh, in Australia, Gail, wonderful. What time is, you're on the opposite side of us, and so it must be evening there for you. Thank you for watching. I do have a member in my membership that's in Australia. So I've got a nice big sunflower in the front. these guys are going to be little petals peeking out behind. So it's going to be my focal point on that big sunflower in the front, and these little petals are going to be additional sunflowers peeking out. So it doesn't look terribly organized, but I'm just putting in little petals. The more we cover of this black surface of this, I don't even want to call it fabric. It's kind of like a pressed something. But once I get paint on there, it tends to get a little smoother for us to paint on. So that's where I would start. That's just a little base to show me where I'm kind of evening it off there. It looks like it was a little off center. Just to know where my sunflowers are going to go in a minute. So now I am going to put in my leaves, because now I know where my sunflowers are. I like to have, when I'm doing a little floral bouquet or a still life with florals, I like to have little leaves and things peeking out from behind my point of interest here. And I'm going to go in, I'm just going to grab another brush, and I'm just going with my dark green. Like I said, it's kind of a sprucey green, and I'm going to just make basic leaf shapes. I'm not shading or highlighting it. I'm just putting in these little leaves. And these guys are just like a whole little leaf. Sometimes it's just a little bit peeking through, just like with the sunflowers. I'm going to try to keep this upright for y'all to see that. So I've been holding on to these hats. I've been wanting to paint on them, so this was a perfect opportunity. I've done the straw hat before and the baseball cap, and I thought, let's paint this one. Okay, so no shading or highlighting really yet, just base colors. After 11 p.m., Gail, yeah, I figured it was late for you there. Well, thank you for staying up late and watching. In Vermont, you're my neighbor too. Terry, I'm in Massachusetts right now, but I also spend a lot of time in Maine. And so you are our neighbor here in New England as well. Okay, so I'm going to rinse my brush off now and just tap that water off. I'm going to rinse. I'm not going to go anymore with that darker color. I'm going to go a little lighter. So now on my sunflowers, I'm going to move forward, like I said, with just a little bit lighter shade of yellow, and then a little bit lighter shade. I'm going to throw some orange in there. And with the last little row of petals will be some of the light yellow mixed with white. And I'm going to use this brush because I like the shape of it. It's almost the shape of the little petal that I want to use. I'm going to go into this. It's more like a yellow ochre. It's a golden color. And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to start getting a little more shape to my petals as I go along. And hey, you guys are really hopping on here. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. And please do say hello. Thank you, Mary. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. So I just am going to do little petal strokes on here. I'm going over what I did, but I'm not trying to cover that orangey brown base. I am just not even watching where that is. So some of that's going to show through. Some of that is still wet, and it's going to blend in with the color, which is great. I like that. I like to blend on the go, kind of mix different colors, go to my surface. You get a little bit more of a natural look that way. I mean, there are times if you're painting a background or something, you want to mix up a nice big pile of paint that you want to be all of the same shade. But most times when I'm in the middle of painting, I like the look of grabbing a few colors and letting it mix right on the surface. So I'm just going to go back over what I've done. Because of the rough surface of this hat, I can't get the perfect shaped petals that I like to get when I'm painting on wood or canvas. And I'll actually maybe show you some of these on the paper here, just if you were painting something that you had a little more control over the surface, that you can get a nicely shaped petal. Good morning, Barbara. Thank you for popping in. Keeping this straight up. I hope you guys, let me know if I sort of start tipping and you can't see what I'm doing. So there we are. So it's like a little bit of a burnt sienna and brown background. Gone over it now with like a yellow ochre. Gail, I didn't treat it at all. I'm painting straight on the surface as it came to me. I generally don't. I'll do a lot of canvas bags, little zip bags, hats, canvas, all sorts of items. And I don't know if you saw the little straw hat that I did earlier. I don't prep it in any way. I just paint right on the surface. So I'm going to go into, I have another yellow here. It's pretty close to this gold color. So I'm going to take it and maybe mix it with some of the lighter yellow. And same thing, I'm going to just go over the petals. If I feel I need to, I could add a little petal in where there wasn't one. Can you see these guys are sort of behind one another? We're going to put some nice big centers on them later, so they will really form a sunflower, so you'll be able to see them. And I'm just doing just what I did with those other shades. I'm just getting lighter and lighter as I go. Next time around, I think I'll add some orange in. I like to add a little orange into my sunflowers. And I want you guys to experiment. Remember, when I'm showing you these step-by-step painting tutorials, I show you how I did it. I don't expect you to follow me exactly. I love it when you put your own spin on things, and there are no rules in art. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever makes your heart happy. So can you see I'm not making really full petals here, but I'm just putting in a little orange here and there. See how that brightens it up already? I know it's dark surface. I do have a hat here in white, which would be great with the sunflowers too. And we wouldn't work so hard covering up that dark on something like that, that shade. But I really like the way the yellow and the gold pops off of the black background. So that was basically to throw a little orange in there. I'm going to dry off my brush now again. Taking that same yellow we used, but this time a little white. I really want to make it pop. If you have any trouble when you're painting, especially yellows and maybe oranges, they're very transparent in your acrylics. I put a light coat on, let it dry, and then I put another coat. But adding a tad of white to any of those colors will make it a little more opaque for you. So I'm going to just kind of go now and see how those are really popping. That's a light yellow, and I just make the little strokes, and that's enough. I don't have to really dig in with the paint like I did on the first few coats, because now I've got a bit of a surface from the previous applied paint that will let this color slide along on the surface. So I am using a little white, just mixing it on the go with that yellow. And what's nice about that is sometimes it's more yellow, sometimes it's more white, makes for a more natural looking flower, because in nature you're not going to find all the petals the exact same shade. So I could dip into some yellow as I go, some white, some orange again. You know, I could go with a little orange with those light colors. It might be nice. And just go over your little petals wherever they are. And like I said, if you have a little blank spot, you can add a petal in. You could layer them. These sunflowers, some of them are very layered as they you know, the petals go round and round. You will also find now, as it looks nice and bright, it does fade a little bit as it dries. No worries. You could just go and pop on as many little coats as you might need. What's everybody else been painting these days? Are you all ready for fall? I did a really cute snowman. I got a cute scarecrow and a Victorian kind of old-fashioned Santa I just finished. So I'm ready. I love summer. I don't want to see it go at all, but I am a little ready to paint some fall things. How do you feel about that? You guys the same way? Hey, Kit, good morning. Thanks for popping over. So look at that. It was very simple steps, correct? Like just a little brown, a little orange, and we already have sunflowers. So easy. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that brush with some paint, because I think I may want to put a few more bright pops of yellow as that starts to fade a little bit. So let's let that sit a minute. Let's address our leaves a little bit. Porch leaners. I do love the porch leaners. I have a couple here right there. I have 5 of them I need to paint. I don't know what to put on them yet. So I'd love to see your ideas. I'd love for you to share your paintings and whatever you're working on with me. That would be terrific. I am going to mix up a little bit of a lighter green here. I want a bit of a lighter green in some spots, so I'm going to mix that up here. I might even just mix it. That's a little forest greeny for me. I might just go back to my primaries. Mix up a nice green. A little white. Oh, that's turning very blue. So I've got a light green. I've got my dark forest green here. Just want a few shades in my leaves so it has a little bit dimension. It looks 3-dimensional. A lot of times I will paint my leaves like this, and I'm going to show you just on the paper for a minute because it's much smoother and it will work. It's not kind of a one-stroke technique. I just load my brush with I'm going to use that lighter green. I just dip the corner of the brush in some white. And the corner of the brush maybe in, I'm going to go into a little blue maybe, just a little bit of a darker shade. And then I sort of just press the brush and I make a little leaf shape. I know that's kind of far off for you to see, but let me do it right here closer to the camera. Same paint is on there, loaded with green, a little light on one side, a little dark on one, and in just one stroke I can make some leaves. Now, it works lovely on that smooth surface. We're going to address the hat. We have a little bit of a base of that green we painted. It's hard to see, but you can see that it's there. So I'm going to try the same thing. I'm going to go with my lighter green, Take a little white on the corner, maybe a little blue for a dark. And I'm going to just make those little leaves. And can you see I made them really in one stroke? I just press down, wiggle it a little bit. Now, that's a little bit of a brush stroke that might take some practice. But you can certainly just, if you were just beginning and you didn't want to try that brush stroke, you could just fill your leaf back in with your green. And then you could just even just take a little, because the paint's going to stay wet for a minute for you. Then you could take some of your light and just sort of blend that right in there. You're going to get the same look. It's just, there's all kinds of different ways to get to the places we want to go in painting. So I'm going to just keep going with I mixed that little bit of lighter shade of green you saw there, a little white, just for the light, for the highlight. Using blue as my dark because sometimes I'll use black or brown, but blue just gives it a little oomph and a little bit of color when you don't realize it, but it is a dark still. And I'm just going to do those little, that white is a bit harsh, so I will just go back over it and just soften a little bit. I like to have a light and a dark because it gives, like I said, the object dimension, looks a little more 3D. And these are just the bigger leaves that we've put on. I might put some little ones in a really light green or yellow after. And they're coming right along. Now, so I'm putting these leaves kind of coming out, peeking out behind our little bouquet of sunflowers. Some of them I will actually go right on top here because it doesn't have to be all left, just the sunflowers one on top of one another. You could just tuck a little leaf in if you wanted somewhere. You can just tuck them in coming out any which way. You can make some small ones. You can, with a smaller brush, I'm using a flat there, but with a smaller brush, you could go in and make some really light colored leaves. Sometimes I'll just do like a little few leaves, which is something like this here. It's hard to see on that, I know, but sometimes I'll do my bigger leaves around the sunflowers, and then I might go back and just do some little bits like this, just peeking out here and there, just little bits of leaves. I'll usually do it in a lighter color just to vary it up a little bit. Now, again, we're working on that black, so it's hard to see sometimes, but you can see them there. They just add a little bit extra. I'm going to just pop them in here and there. And as everything dries, I go back and I could go right over these and give them a really nice bright splash of color if need be. Sometimes I can mix a little white with that light green color and make a few. And again, they can come right on top of your leaves, your sunflowers that are in there. They don't have to be all just outside. I just like to fill it in with a little bit so it looks like a little full bouquet. And there we are. I'm going to pop in a little bit since I have my brush from the sunflower petals there. I'm going to pop a few in. I'm not going to do it everywhere. If we did it everywhere, it wouldn't stand out so much, but a little bit of a light yellow again, and just here and there on a few petals. And again, they're sort of layered, so sometimes you can even make them a little smaller and just put them right on top. Can you see I'm not really studying, oh, where are they going to go? I need to have it right here. I'm just popping them on there. It's just making a little bit of a brighter look. So can you see how the lighter they get, they look like they're really in the front. They're really coming forward. I'm just going to pop a few. And what finishes them off nice is their centers. So I do a nice big dark center. My burnt umber paint is never dark enough for me, so I always add a little black. I want a real dark, dark center there. And they're just big, as you know, in sunflowers, big round centers. And these little guys that are peeking out in the edge, I'm not doing a big whole circle. I'm just kind of patting in my brush there and getting just a little center. And then that one in the front will have a nice big round center. This one right here will just go right out over the leaves a little bit. And if you look at the sunflowers carefully, you'll see that they have like a little divot in the middle. And so we've got that big black hole there, but we can make it look like it has a little divot. So I'm going to take some orange paint now, and I'm going to just sort of go around. I'm on top of the center, but I'm going around with the orange paint. The dark color is pretty wet, so I'm going to go a little heavy with this, or you could just let it dry a little bit. Okay, and it's a little heavy there, so let's smooth it out. Painting on the fabric, the paint isn't drying quite so fast, which is good. It gives us time to kind of blend it and move it around. So can you see now it looks like it has a bit of a divot. It looks like it's a little bit sunk in the middle, which is the little look I was looking for. The centers on the edge, we don't have to worry about too much. I'm just going to give them a little orange dab there, just a little highlight. And I'm watching my colors, and on camera they look great. The green is showing up enough. It looks a little dark in person. But that's another trick when you're painting, you guys. If you think something's a little off or a little wonky, you don't know what it is, take a picture of it or hold it up in a mirror. It's amazing how then it's going to call out any of the little issues that you might want to adjust or fix. Like I can watch myself painting and I have a better idea of what it looks like than just this close to it. And speaking of being this close to it, let's not be too judgy of our paintings because we're, again, this close to it. No one's going to be looking at your paintings or whatever you're painting this close. They are not going to see every little thing that you think is a problem. Step away. Don't forget, just keep stepping away from your paintings, whether you're painting a little object like this or something bigger. Step back and look at it. Or if it's really bugging you, leave it alone for a little while and come back tomorrow and you'll be surprised that, oh, with new eyes, it really looks a lot better. Hi, Kim. Thank you. And Jean, thank you very much. I appreciate you letting everyone know about me. So I'd love it if you would give me a follow and let your friends and fellow crafty, painty people know that I'm here. So we're not done quite yet. I do like to go in and put in some veins in the little leaves. So I'll do that in white. Because I'm painting on black, I think the white would be a good choice. It's really not a lot. It's just a little line that goes from behind the flowers out into the leaf. And these are just little touches, but they do all come together to create a nice, almost a detailed looking design. And you know how quick and random I've been painting this. It's not like I'm really studying it exactly, but see, you can get some little veins in there. And what I do to finish off, I sometimes take my little brush again and I would just go and put little petals of a white flower peeking out from here and there. If you want, you have room, you could do like a whole little flower. These little one-stroke flowers, I am just working from outside in, popping them in there. But mostly they're just like 3 little petals sticking out from back behind. And because I'm painting on black, I am going to do the centers white as well. And then when that's dry, I will pop the yellow in. But the yellow, like I said, being transparent is not going to show very much without a little base. So wherever you want, and again, on top of some of the other sunflowers, they don't have to be always coming from the outside edge. See, they're just little one-stroke flowers, mostly just 3 little, I know there's a glare coming out there, but 3 little strokes. And then you can just take your bright yellow again and pop in a little center for those guys. And you'll see how much brighter it is because I have that little white dot underneath. So there. And this is pretty much done. We're doing great on time. Talk about perfect timing. I do one last thing for the sunflowers, which I'll show you. So here we are. If they're really big sunflowers, you could put some veins in them, but I don't think we need to here. And I put little pollen dots. So they're just little dots of color. I use whatever's on my palette. I use a little dotting tool, or the back end of your brush is great for dots. And I just dot whatever colors I'm grabbing off my palette around. I don't try to go on a perfect, on the edge of the center. I sort of just go random off the center, on the center. And then if you want, you can even just throw little dots here and there around the design if you want. I'll start with white so you can really see what I'm doing. White just on my little dotting tool. And again, the back end of the brush works fabulous. And just dot all around your center. And I would go into orange, yellow, whatever color you are, you're using. I did not use my red after all. Sometimes I do like the way the red looks on the little pollen dots. You can use green, you can use whatever color. So I would go and do that on all of the centers. So there we have it. And we have about a minute. So I'm going to try to get us close up, but I'll take a picture of this. So this will get posted that if you want to see the replay, nice picture of the hat. But this, you can see it's much smoother on the ball cap because the fabric is much smoother. So that's why that is looks a little bit like better shaped petals. But even rougher than the cowboy hat is the straw hat. So I'm going to sign off. Happy painting, you guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I will put the replay up so you can see it again. Bye now.